Kim Joo-ho died at 32 years old, not heroically falling downstairs. His own home stairs to the second floor, slipped on a sock that he forgot on the step, head against the corner of a wooden windowsill, instantly. The last thing he thought was that he should have put the socks away. Then darkness. Then something else. The first sensation of the new world was cold. The ground beneath him was hard, rocky. The sky was dark purple, not blue. 2 suns, one large orange, the second small white at the horizon. 2 suns. So, definitely not Earth. He sat up, looked around. A plain. Rare trees with dark red leaves. Mountains far away, bluish. His body. The same hands, the same shirt he was wearing at home. A click in his head, like an alarm clock ringing, only from inside. Welcome to the world of Valor carrier, Kim Joo-ho. Granted system, beast storage. Principle, the carrier can capture any defeated monster and place it in storage. Captured monster retains all abilities, obeys the carrier. Summoning a monster at the carrier's will at any moment. Storage, up to 500 creatures at the same time. Limitation, can only capture a monster that the carrier defeated personally or his squad in which the carrier participated. Special skill of the carrier, beast understanding. The carrier understands the language of all creatures and can speak with them. Joo-ho read the text. Slowly. Twice. Then looked around again, this time with a different question in his head. There are monsters here, so you need to be careful. He stood up. Joo-ho walked for an hour, no monsters. Only the wind across the plain, the rustle of red leaves, a distant echo of something large but far away. Then he found one, or rather they found him. A beast jumped out from behind a stone, small, the size of a large dog, similar to a lizard, only with 6 legs. Gray scales, yellow eyes, mouth with 3 rows of teeth. It hissed. Joo-ho froze. Small, probably weak, relatively. Information lit up in his head. The system worked automatically. Gray scar monster of the first rank. Danger, low abilities, speed, bite with first-degree poison. Note, pack animal, usually not alone. Not alone. Joo-ho turned around. Behind him were 3 more. 4 lizards, each the size of a dog, against an unarmed person. Not many options. He grabbed a stone from the ground, heavy with a sharp edge. The first scar jumped. Joo-ho stepped aside, reflex, not skill. Stone down on the lizard's head, hard. The scar fell, twitched, and fell silent. The other 3 retreated. Then they rushed at the same time, 3 against 1. Bad. The next 2 minutes were ugly, not a hero's fight, but a struggle for survival. A bite on the arm hurt, the shirt sleeve didn't help. A blow with the stone, the second scar killed. The third bit his leg, Joo-ho fell, stone from above, the third ready. The fourth ran away. Joo-ho lay on the ground, breathing heavily, his arm and leg hurt, bleeding. The poison was a slight burning, not strong. First-degree poison, apparently not fatal. I hope. A click in his head again. You defeated 3 gray scars available to capture. 3 creatures? Capture? Capture. He didn't think much, intuitively. 3 scars dissolved. Literally, the bodies flickered with blue light and disappeared. A quiet sensation in his head, as if something fell into place. 3 small presences far away in the depths of consciousness. They are there, alive, waiting. He sat down, looked at his arm. 3 lizards in his pocket. The beginning is done. The poison passed in an hour. Insignificant, a slight tingling, then nothing. Joo-ho found a stream, washed the wounds. Bandaged them with strips from his shirt. He didn't regret the shirt. In this world, it was not the place to worry about clothes. He tried to summon the scars. Mentally, as one summons a contact in the head. Come out. 3 scars appeared next to him, without warning, without sound. They simply weren't, and then were, became, and are. They looked at him. Joo-ho looked at them. Beast understanding. Let's try. Do you understand me? He asked out loud. The scars jerked their heads, looked at each other. The largest of the 3 answered. The sound was hissing, crackling, something vibrating. But the system translated instantly. We understand. You are the master now. Master? Repeated Joo-ho. Are you against this? Silence. The scars looked at each other again, no point in being against it. You are stronger. Pause. We are alive. That's good. Pragmatic logic. What is your name? Asked Juho to the eldest. We have no names. You will have them, said Juho. You are gray. The second is Fang. The third is Fast. The scars were silent. Then Gray slightly tilted his head. Good. We are Gray, Fang, Fast. Excellent. Juho looked around. What is there nearby? What is dangerous? What is not? Gray thought. To the south is the plain, safe. To the north is the lair of stone trolls, dangerous. To the east is the forest of dark wolves, very dangerous. To the west is a settlement. A settlement? Of people? Not people. Small ones. Pause. Goblins. Goblins. Juho sat by the stream and thought. In fantasy worlds, goblins are usually weak, cowardly, malicious, enemies by default. But the system did not say that there are enemies by default. The system says defeated monsters, which means you first need to defeat them. The question, who is a monster here by definition? Only aggressive beasts or any non-human, he asked Gray. Do goblins attack people? Sometimes, when hungry, when scared. Pause. These do not attack. Very weak. They live quietly. What does weak mean? The weakest monster in these parts, even lower than us. Pause. Everyone offends them. Everyone offends the weakest. Everywhere the same, on Earth or in Valor. Understood, said Juho. First, look around. Then decide what to do. He got up, went west. The goblin settlement appeared before sunset. Several dozen small huts made of branches, leaves, mud. Not a village, a camp. Everything had a temporary look, as if ready to run away at any moment. Goblins are small, up to a person's chest. Greenish skin, big ears, sharp noses, dressed in rags. There were many of them, about 80, maybe 100. They noticed Juho before he approached. Instant panic, screeching, running around. Half rushed to hide, half froze with homemade spears, sticks with sharpened ends. Not metal, wood. Wooden spears against a person, they know it's almost nothing. But they stand, protecting the others. Juho stopped, raised his hands with empty palms. He spoke in Goblin. The system gave the language automatically. I am not an enemy. I am passing by. Just looking. Silence among the goblins. Then one came forward. Old by goblin standards, probably. Small even for his kind, with a staff made of a crooked branch. You speak our language, he said. Surprised? I speak. People don't speak. People come, take, beat, leave. I am a different person. The old goblin looked for a long time, then lowered his staff. Come in, if you want. The old goblin was named Croc. The elder, the smartest and oldest in the settlement. By goblin standards, age is respected. They sat by a small fire. Other goblins kept their distance, watching warily. What is your name? Asked Croc. Juho. Zuho, repeated Croc, adapting it in his own way. What do you need, Zuho? For now, nothing. I want to understand this world. Pause. Tell me about your settlement. Croc looked with suspicion. Why do you want to know about us? Because it's interesting. And because I see that you have problems. Everyone has problems. What are yours? Croc was silent. Then he started speaking. First slowly, then faster, it was clear that he hadn't spoken to someone who listens for a long time. The settlement has existed here for 2 years. Before that, they wandered. They were driven away from everywhere. People drove them away, other monsters drove them away. They found this place relatively quiet. They set up huts. They live. Little food. Hunting is bad, goblins are weak. They don't take large prey. They gather berries, roots, small creatures. Twice a year, trolls come from the north. They take the supplies. Goblins cannot defend themselves. This winter, 3 died. Hunger. Juho listened, made mental notes. A weak people, driven away from everywhere, living on the edge of survival. Trolls rob regularly, a standard story of the oppressed. He looked at the goblins around. There were children, small ones with huge, curious eyes. They looked at him from behind the huts. Children are the same everywhere, curious, unprotected. Croc, said Juho. I want to stay here for some time. Help if I can. Why do you want to help us? Because I can. That's not an answer. A direct old man. Because I need a place in this world, said Juho honestly. And your settlement is the place I found first. And because I see that you are good creatures who are unlucky. Croc thought for a long time. What will you demand in return? For now, nothing. We'll see how it goes. People always demand. I am not all people. Croc looked at him with sharp, small eyes. Good, he said finally. Stay. But if you cause harm, you leave. Agreed. They gave him a hut, small even for a goblin. Juho sat hunched over. But a hut. At night, he thought. So, a goblin settlement. 80-something creatures, weak, starving. Trolls come to rob. What can I do? Beast storage. 3 scars gray, fang, fast. Weak, first rank. This is not enough. Need more creatures, stronger. But to capture a creature, you need to defeat it. To defeat it, you need strength or skill or help. 3 scars are not enough against trolls. So first build up the storage. Gather enough creatures to protect the settlement. In parallel, help the goblins with everyday life. Food, organization, basic protection. Long term, turn the camp into something bigger. A familiar task in essence. Only instead of a human village, a goblin settlement. He took Gray out of storage. He appeared nearby, quietly. Master is not sleeping, said Gray. Thinking. Pause. Gray, tell me about the stone trolls. How many are there? A pack of 8. The leader is big, strong, 3rd rank. How dangerous is 3rd rank? For one goblin, instant death. For you too bad. Pause. But trolls are stupid, slow. There is strength, no mind. Slow and stupid. Can be used. How much time until they come? By seasons, 2 months. They come when the first snow. 2 months. This is time. For what? For preparation, said Juho. Sleep. Tomorrow we work. Gray curled up nearby, closed his eyes. A lizard that obeys and understands. Strange. Good strange. In the morning, Juho came out of the hut. The settlement was already alive. Goblins were bustling, some carrying brushwood, some repairing a hut, children running between adults. At the sight of Juho, they fell silent. Watched. He approached Croc. I want to see how you live, what you eat, how you hunt, how you build. Croc did not object. Led the way. For 3 hours, Juho walked and watched, asked questions, listened. A picture of poverty but not hopelessness. Goblins were not lazy, they worked a lot. The problem was efficiency. They did everything haphazardly without thinking about optimization. Hunting, they went in pairs without a plan. Sometimes they found something, often not. Food, they cooked everything in one pot. Nutritious? Barely. Huts were built somehow. They held, but it was cold in winter. After the inspection, he sat down with Croc. Several things that can be changed, Juho began. Croc listened. Hunting. Not too aimlessly, but a group with a drive. 3 chase the animal, 1 waits ahead. Easier to catch. Food. Divide what to cook, what to dry, what to store. Dried meat and berries in winter are more valuable than everything eaten now. Huts. Strengthen before winter. Caulk the walls. Make roofs double. Croc listened silently. Then, we didn't think about this. Now we'll think together. Why do you know such things? I studied, said Juho. Read a lot, he thought, in the previous world. Another world? A long story. I'll tell later. While the goblins were reorganizing the hunt, Juho went out into the plain alone. With Gray, Fang, fast. The goal was to find creatures that could be defeated and captured, build up the storage. For now, everything that is available. Gray led. He knew the area well. They found a pack of gray scars, a dozen. More this time, but I already know how they move. The fight was better than the first, not much, but better. Juho stayed behind. Gray, Fang, fast attacked. The scars reacted to their own kind with confusion. 8 scars captured. 2 ran away. Storage. 11 creatures. Then they came across something different. A beast was sitting by a large stone, the size of a heifer. Similar to a bear but without ears, with a stone hide. Literally hide like armor made of fused stones. Stone Bear monster of the second rank. Danger medium abilities, stone armor, paw strike, crushes a tree, low speed. Second rank, higher than Scars. Juho stopped. Difficult to defeat, but low speed. If you use the Scars as a distraction. Gray, you all attack him at the same time. Bite, hiss, attract attention. Don't try to break through the armor, just interfere. And you? I'll find a weak spot. Stone armor, fused stones, but joints. Where the paws move, the armor cannot be continuous. 11 Scars rushed at the bear. It roared loudly, bassily, started hitting with paws slowly, powerfully. Juho went around from the side, looked at the joints. There. Knee joint of the hind paw, gap between the plates. He found a sharp stone, long, like a spear. 3 attempts found the angle, it went into the gap. The bear fell on its hind part. Roared, rolled over, Juho barely escaped the paw. Gray jumped on the bear's head, bite in the eye. The bear froze, then lay down. Victory. Juho stood breathing heavily. His side hurt where the paw had hit. Not broken, but there would be a bruise the size of a plate. You defeated the stone bear capture? Capture. The bear dissolved. There were 12 in the storage. A new presence, heavy, powerful. The bear in the depths of consciousness. Calm. The master won, said Gray. Without much emotion, a statement. We won, Juho corrected. It wouldn't have worked without you. Gray tilted his head. Accepted. Good when a Scar nods. He returned to the settlement in the evening. The goblins were surprised when he came out of the forest with 11 Scars following. Croc came out to meet him. Are these yours? Mine, said Juho. Do the Scars obey you? Yes. Croc looked at the Scars. The Scars looked at the goblins without aggression. Just looked. Before they attacked us, said Croc quietly. Now no. How? The system, said Juho. I'll explain in more detail later. For now, know that my beasts will not touch yours. Croc nodded slowly, accepting. Then Juho took out the bear. It appeared in the middle of the settlement. Huge stone, loudly exhaled. The goblins scattered with a cry. Stop! Shouted Juho in Goblin. He is mine. He will not touch you. The bear stood, looked at the goblins indifferently without interest. Bear, said Juho to the bear. What is your name? The bear answered with a low rumble, almost underground. The system translated, I am Thunder. Thunder, repeated Juho. A good name. Croc cautiously approached, looked at Thunder from below upwards. Do you speak with him? I speak with all beasts, said Juho. This is my ability. What did he say? That his name is Thunder. Croc looked at the bear. The bear squinted an eye at the goblin. Small, said Thunder. He says that you are small, Juho translated. Tell him he sees for himself, said Croc imperturbably. Juho laughed. The first time he really laughed in this world. The next day, Thunder went with the goblin hunting group. Not to hunt, to scare off. Drive hunt. Thunder goes from one side, animals run to the other. There the goblins with homemade spears. They returned in 3 hours with 2 roe deer, large, fat. It was more meat than the settlement usually obtained in a week. The goblins looked at the carcasses and at Thunder with an expression that Juho recognized. The first real surprise when they understand that the world can be better than they thought. Croc approached Juho. How long will you stay here? I don't know. Honestly, probably long. Why do you want to stay? You are stronger than us. You could go further, Juho thought. Because it's interesting, he said, to see what comes out of it. Croc looked. You are a strange person. I hear this not for the first time. For 2 weeks, Juho went out into the field every day. With different squads, sometimes only with Scars, sometimes with Thunder, sometimes alone. He looked for monsters, studied, assessed, defeated those he could defeat. The storage grew. First day, 3 Scars. End of the first week. 23 creatures end of the second week. 41 creatures. Diversity increased. Scars are the base, fast, poisonous. Good for reconnaissance and distraction. Stone Bear Thunder is strength and intimidation. One look at him stopped many. He found a swamp slug of the second rank, slow but secretes acid. Captured it after a long fuss. He found an arrow-tailed bird that launches feathers like arrows. 3rd rank, had to work hard. A feather arrow pierced the sleeve, grazed the arm. Not deep, but unpleasant. He found something interesting. At the edge of the dark forest, he did not go inside. Only at the edge, he came across a shadow wolf. It was lying on a clearing, alone, with its paw tucked. Injured, the paw was unnaturally turned. Shadow wolf monster of the 3rd rank. Danger, high abilities. Dissolves in shadow, attack from darkness, highest speed. 3rd rank. Stronger than I can defeat in fair combat for now, but it is injured. Juho stood. Thought. Defeating an injured one is unfair, but the system says defeated monsters. Injury does not count as victory. On the other hand, if this wolf dies here from the wound, it is worse than if I capture it. Can try differently. He approached slowly. Stopped about 5 steps away. The wolf raised its head. Growled quietly, warningly. Eyes silver, bright even during the day. I am not attacking, said Juho in beast language, the language the system gave. I see you are injured. The wolf stopped growling. Looked. Why did you approach? To see if I can help. Why help an enemy? You are not my enemy. I am not yours either. The wolf looked for a long time. Then, you cannot help. The paw is broken. I can, said Juho. I saw how fractures are treated. Need a straight branch and something to bandage with. On Earth, he watched videos about first aid for animals. Applicable here approximately. Branches were found. Strips of fabric from the shirt, of which there was almost nothing left. The wolf allowed him to approach. Did not move while Juho fixed the paw, only breathed noisily from pain. It hurts, said the wolf. I know. Endure it. Finished. Stepped back. The wolf carefully tried to stand. It worked unsteadily, but it stood. Why did you do this? Asked the wolf. Because I could. What do you want in return? Nothing now. Pause. If someday I want to talk, I hope you won't attack. The wolf looked at him for a long time, searchingly. I won't attack, he said finally. I remembered you. Turned around. Went into the forest slowly, sparing the paw. Juho looked after him. Did not capture, did not defeat. But maybe this is better. Storage is not the only way to have an ally. A month. Storage 57 creatures. The goblin settlement has changed. Not much. In a month, little changes, but noticeably. Hunting with thunder and scars gave twice as much food. Huts strengthened. Juho showed how to caulk branches with clay. Goblin children got used to the scars. Now they ran around the settlement like pets. Gray in particular became a favorite of the children. A lizard the size of a dog, and for children the best friend. Allowed petting, riding on the back, pulling the tail without malice. Gray has character, patient. Croc talked with Juho every evening, for a long time. Asked about methods, about plans, about the world beyond the plane. Juho told. Not everything, but a lot. About human villages, about barons, about trade. Croc listened like a sponge. So people have cities, he said once. They do. And goblins cannot go there. Not yet. People are afraid of goblins. Afraid? Croc was surprised. We are the weakest. They are afraid not because you are strong, said Juho. They are afraid because you are strangers. Incomprehensible. We are not strangers. We are just different. I know, said Juho. But fear doesn't work that way, Croc thought. Can this be changed? Over time, yes, but it's long. First, we solved the problem with the trolls. 3 weeks until the first snow. That evening, Juho borrowed an approach, sat with Croc and drew a diagram on the ground. Where do the trolls come from? From the north, along that path there. Croc pointed. Always the same road? Always. They are stupid, they go straight. How many are there? 8. The leader stone crusher is big, height of 2 people, armed, clubs, throw stones. Juho looked at the diagram. 8 trolls. 3rd rank according to the system. I have 57 creatures, but most are 1st rank, scars. Thunder is 2nd rank. Arrow-tailed bird needle is 3rd rank, but 1. In a frontal battle, it's difficult. Trolls are strong, they have stone armor like thunder. So, not a frontal battle. Croc, what place does the path to your settlement pass through? Through a gorge between 2 hills. A narrow place, the gorge. Here it is. In the gorge, do the trolls go one by one? 2 at most, it's narrow. Then I know what to do. The day of the first snow. The trolls came as scheduled. The tramp of heavy feet, the smell. Gray warned an hour in advance. Juho stood in the gorge, not alone. Thunder at the exit from the gorge behind the bend, invisible. All 11 scars scattered along the walls of the gorge, waiting. Needle on the top of the hill, ready. Swamp slug Klyaxa at the entrance to the gorge, hidden behind a stone. Specially for this acid-dissolved stone, trolls with stone skin are vulnerable. An improvised trap. The most vulnerable place is the entrance. The trolls appeared. The first two large, brown, with clubs. They walked waddling confidently, used to the fact that no one meets them in this gorge. They saw Juho and stopped. A human, said one surprised. Food, said the other. Juho stood. Klaksa, he said quietly. The swamp slug splashed acid. A wide stream covered the legs of both trolls. The trolls roared, started jumping. The acid burned through the stone skin slowly, but burned. Needle, the arrow-tailed bird from the top of the hill. Feather arrows in a burst at the same two trolls. They don't kill, but each hit hurts. The trolls behind pressed, wanted to move forward. Narrow gorge, the front ones interfered. Gray. All. 11 scars jumped from the walls of the gorge. At the rear trolls. Poisonous bites to the neck, to the leg, wherever they could reach. First rank against third does not kill, but the poison accumulates. And 52 bites in 1 minute is a lot even for a troll. Trolls in panic. They did not expect anything like this. They were used to everyone running away. The first two fell. The acid and arrows did their job. Thunder! The stone bear came out from behind the bend. He stood in front of those who had broken through forward. The troll leader Stone Crusher saw the bear. He froze. Thunder was lower in height, but wider. And the stone armor of the bear was thicker than that of the trolls. They looked at each other for a second. Then Stone Crusher struck with his club. Thunder received the blow and flew back. He got up. Struck back with his paw to the chest. The troll flew back into his own. Thunder would not win alone, but he would delay. Klyaxa, here! The swamp slug crawled up to Stone Crusher, acid to the leader's legs. Stone Crusher roared. Needles arrows to the leader's eyes. Trolls do not have glass eyes, but it is unpleasant. The scars left the rear trolls. All on the leader. Focus the attack. Remove the strongest. Stone Crusher stood. He struck in all directions. Heavy, powerful, but too many attacks at the same time. Acid, arrows, bites, bear. After 3 minutes, the leader fell. The remaining trolls saw this. The leader fell. They ran. All 7 back to the north, dropping their clubs. Silence after the battle. Juho stood in the gorge, breathing. Thunder sat, licking his side. The club had hit, a crack in the shell. It hurts, Thunder reported. I know, you held well. Bears hold well, said Thunder with dignity. The system flashed. Defeated. 1 troll of the 3rd rank, 1 troll of the 2nd rank. Fled, 6 trolls capture unavailable. Capture the fallen? Capture. 2 new presences in the storage. Heavy, powerful. Storage, 59 creatures. Croc stood at the edge of the settlement, waiting. He saw Juho and exhaled. Trolls? They left, said Juho. 2 will not return. Croc looked at him for a long time. You drove away the trolls. This time, yes. They will return next autumn or earlier. We need to prepare constantly. But today they left. Yes. Croc turned to the settlement. He shouted something Juho understood. The trolls have left. The settlement exploded with a cry. Not just joy, something deeper. Relief that had accumulated over the years. Fear that had released for 1 season. Children ran around, adults hugged. Someone cried without embarrassment, simply cried. Gray stood in the middle of this and watched. Then he approached Juho. The little green ones are pleased, he said. Yes, is this good? Yes, Gray. This is good. 3 months after the trolls. Storage 81 creatures. The goblin settlement had changed greatly. After the victory over the trolls, trust in Juho became different. Not just a strange person who stayed, but the one who drove away the trolls. In goblin hierarchy, this means a lot. Juho used the trust correctly, not for power, for work. He completely reorganized the hunt. With animals from the storage in the role of drivers, the prey grew 3-fold. They began to dry meat for reserves. For the first time in the history of the settlement, there were reserves. He reviewed the huts. He showed how to build properly corner posts, crossbeams, clay coating. The huts became houses, elementary medicine. Which herbs for fever, which for wounds. Goblins got sick often, immunity weak, now a little less. Croc all this time observed, remembered, asked. In the 3rd month, he came to Juho with a proposal. I want to try one thing, he said. What? To call other families, other goblins. Pause. Lonely ones, homeless ones. There are many of them in these parts. Juho looked. Why? More of us, we are stronger. Pause. You yourself said, more hands, more work. He listened. He remembered. He applied. How many do you expect? I don't know. Maybe 20. Maybe more. We will accept them, said Juho. But with conditions. Whoever comes works. Does not parasitize. Goblins are not parasites, said Croc with dignity. I know. This is the rule for everyone. Croc nodded. He sent messengers, young goblins, fast ones, in different directions. After 2 weeks, they began to come. Not 20, 47. Families, loners, old people, children. Different, some already had small groups, mini-clans. The settlement from 120 grew to 167 in 2 weeks. Juho watched how Croc accepted each group. The elder was a smart politician. He explained the rules to each, gave each a place, introduced each to the settlement. He did not rush, did not be rude. Patient, a good leader for his people. Juho helped but did not push forward. This was Croc's matter. A principle he had learned in the previous world. The face should be one's own. One of the new groups brought a problem. A clan of 5 goblins. Slightly larger than usual. They looked down on the others. The eldest, named Rake, spoke rudely, demanded the best place. Croc looked at them, then at Juho. Juho approached. Who are you? Asked Rick, noticing the human. I live here, said Juho in Goblin. A human lives among goblins? Rick laughed. Strange. It happens, Juho agreed. Rick, there are rules here. Everyone works. No one demands more than they have earned. And who watches over the rules? You? Croc watches. Pause. I help. Rick looked at him, then squinted his gaze. He saw Thunder, who was sitting by a large tree and dozing. Is this yours? Yes. Stone Bear? Yes. Rick pondered. For a long time, then shrugged. We will follow the rules, he said, without enthusiasm but without objections. Thunder made the argument without words. 6 months after coming to the settlement. 2 results. Storage and life. Storage. 112 creatures. Diversity grew. Scars are the basis of reconnaissance. Thunder and 2 trophy trolls are the striking force. Needle and her relatives, he found 3 more arrow-tailed birds, long-range combat. Cleaxa and 3 swamp slugs. Storage full list. Scars 23 units. Reconnaissance poison. Speed. Stone Bear Thunder 1. Striking armor, captured trolls 2. Stupid, obedient, strong. Arrow-tailed birds 4, including Needle the most accurate. Swamp slugs 4. Acid against armor. Rock crab 1. Found by the rocky bank of the river. Huge, slow, almost unkillable. 4th rank, the first 4th rank in storage. Defeated by cunning, drove into a pit and pelted with stones, while scars bit the joints. And several others, small, different, useful in their own way. Settlement. 189 goblins. No longer a camp, a village. A real one. 38 houses, a well, a common hearth, a pen for small livestock that was caught and domesticated, something like a rabbit only with horns. Reserves for 3 months ahead. For the first time in the history of this settlement. Children healthier, they get sick less, they eat normally. Croc is pleased. In goblin terms, pleased means he grumbles less than usual. 7th month. Juho was returning from another trip to the field, obtained 2 forest boars of the 3rd rank, now in storage. At the edge of the forest, he felt a gaze. He stopped. From the shadow of the trees, silver eyes. Shadow wolf. He came out slowly without aggression. The paw had healed. He walked evenly, stopped 3 steps away. Looked. You helped me, said the wolf. Helped, Juho agreed. Time has passed. I have been watching you, I know. Sometimes I felt it. You are building something. With the little green ones? Yes, why? Because it is interesting, because I can. The wolf sat, thought in a wolf way, slowly and seriously. I am a loner. No pack. Pause. I want to know your group. Does it accept loners? Juho looked at the wolf. Shadow wolf of the 3rd rank. Dissolves in shadows, highest speed, attack from darkness. One of the strongest scouts one can imagine. But he is not defeated. The system requires victory. I have a system, said Juho honestly. I can accept a beast into storage only if I defeated it. You are not defeated. I know. I saw how you do it with others. Pause. Is there another way? I don't know, Juho said honestly. The system did not offer another, the wolf thought. We can fight. You will win. You have many beasts. Then I am in your group. It is unfair to attack the one who offers alliance. In this world, honesty is rare. In this world, it may be. But I try differently. Silence. The wolf lay down right on the ground in front of Juho. He put his head on his paws. This means submission among wolves, he said. Voluntary. A click in his head. Unusual. Special case. The creature voluntarily recognizes the carrier. Voluntary acceptance available without victory in battle. Accept? The system found a workaround. Accept, said Juho. Soft glow, not blue as usual, silvery. The wolf blinked and appeared again, but already with a thin thread of connection in Juho's consciousness. Now in your group, said the wolf calmly. What is your name? Shadow. Shadow, Juho nodded. A good name. I know. Shadow changed everything in the matter of information. Scars are good scouts at short distances. Shadow is different. He dissolved in any shadow, moved faster than the eye notices, returned with a report in an hour where others spent a day. First reconnaissance map of the surroundings within a day's journey. Detailed, accurate. Juho listened to Shadow's report and wrote it down on a piece of skin with a charcoal stick. To the north, the trolls went far. Good. To the east, the dark forest. Shadow did not go in too deep, dangerous even for him. Something lives there of high rank. To the south, a day's journey away, a human village. Small. To the west, open plain, then a river, then more human villages. And the main thing, 2 hours' journey to the northeast, an abandoned fortress. Stone, old. The walls partially collapsed but stand. Juho looked at the map. Abandoned fortress. Shadow, does anyone live there? Several creatures, weak bats, rats, nothing dangerous. But the place itself, old. Magic was felt. Old magic? Ancient. Not dangerous now, residual. Juho looked at his notes for a long time. Abandoned fortress, stone walls, a place with history. A goblin settlement that is growing, 189 creatures. In huts that are still too small. In a camp that is called a village, but barely. If we move the settlement to the fortress, this is another level. Walls, protection, space for growth. He went to Croc. Croc listened. Juho explained about the fortress, about the walls, about the potential. The elder was silent for a long time after Juho finished. We have never lived in stone walls, said Croc. Now you can. It is far, 2 hours' journey. Not far. Moving is difficult. Difficult, Juho agreed. But once and then for a long time. Better than here. Goblins are afraid to change place, said Croc. Not as you think. Not laziness. Fear? We have been driven away for so long that every place seems temporary. We do not get attached. It is deeper than just conservatism. It is the trauma of nomads who are not accepted anywhere. Croc, said Juho quietly. That is exactly why a fortress is needed. Not a temporary place. Permanent. Yours. Walls that no one will take away. Croc looked at him. Are you sure we can? I am sure. I saw how 100 starving people built a city in 15 years. Pause. With you, we will do it faster. There are more of you, you are stronger than you think, and I have my beasts for heavy work. Long silence. Good, said Croc. Show me the fortress? The three of them went. Juho, Croc, Shadow. Shadow led. He knew the way. The fortress appeared behind the hill. Larger than Juho expected from the description. Square with 4 towers, 2 collapsed halfway, 2 stood. The walls thick, stone. Inside several buildings. The main hall with a collapsed roof. Several other buildings were better preserved. The gates were missing, the opening open. Croc entered inside. He walked slowly, touched the walls. Juho did not rush him. Let him look. Let him feel it himself. Croc stopped in the center of the courtyard. He raised his head, the sky in 4 walls, a square piece. Do the walls hold? He asked. Shadow checked. They hold. Repair needed, but the base is strong. How many of us will fit here? With a margin for 300. If we build inside properly, for 500. Croc walked around more. He found a basement, deep, dry. He found a well inside the courtyard, overgrown, but there is water. He found an old forge, without tools, but the hearth intact. A forge. There was none in the settlement. Croc returned to Juho. What is it called? I don't know. Shadow? Local beasts call it the Gray Citadel, said the wolf from the shadow of the wall. Gray Citadel, repeated Croc. He thought. We will name it in our own way. Green Stronghold. Juho smiled. A good name. When do we start the move? As soon as you tell your own. Croc was silent for the last time. Then firmly, tomorrow I tell everyone. The day after tomorrow we start. 3 days of moving. The goblins packed their simple belongings. They carried them on their backs, in their hands, on homemade stretchers. Juho organized the trolls from storage to carry the heaviest. Thunder dragged the grain reserves. Scars accompanied the children, guard and navigation. Along the way, several goblins doubted. They stopped, looked back at the old settlement. Juho did not pressure. He waited. Usually another goblin convinced, or Croc said a short word. Good when the leader knows how to work with people or with goblins. By the end of the 3rd day, all 189 were in the Green Stronghold. The first night they slept huddled in the main hall, right on the stone. Children in the arms of parents, scars in the corners, on duty. In the morning, Croc got up early. He went out into the courtyard, looked at the walls. Juho followed. Ours, said Croc quietly. Not to Juho, to himself. To the walls. Yours, Juho agreed. A hard month. They built, repaired, cleared, organized the space. Trolls from storage were irreplaceable. They carried stones, broke out collapsed parts of walls, cleared debris, work that would have taken goblins weeks the trolls did in days. This was a new use of storage that he had not thought of before. Not only battle, labor. The forge, they cleaned the hearth. There was no blacksmith, but Juho remembered the basics explained by Sam in the previous world. He tried himself. The first attempts were bad. The metal did not obey. A young goblin named Tink watched for 3 days. Then he asked to try. Tink turned out to be a born blacksmith. Sometimes talent simply waits for when it is given a tool. After a month, Tink forged simple things. Hooks, hinges, tips. Slowly, uncertainly, but he forged. Juho brought him metal, obtained it in the old collapsed buildings of the fortress. Rusty iron, Tink melted it again. A small closed cycle, but a beginning. The well in the courtyard was cleaned. The water was good, clean. An independent source inside the walls. Critical during a siege. No siege is expected, but one must think about it in advance. The 2 intact towers became observation posts. Scars were on duty there constantly. Shadow went on long reconnaissance once every 2 days. Awareness grew. Now Juho knew what was happening within a radius of several hours' journey. The 2nd month in the fortress. Shadow reported that people were coming to the Green Stronghold. 3, with weapons. Hunters or scouts. Juho went out to meet them. Alone. Without beasts, he put all in storage except Shadow, who dissolved in the shadow of the wall behind his back. The 3 appeared from behind the hill. People. About 25 to 30 years old. Hunting clothes, bows, knives. They looked at Juho in surprise. Clearly did not expect to meet a human here. Hey, said one, cautiously. Hey, Juho replied. Are you alone here? No. Who is with you? Pause. Local residents, said Juho. The hunters exchanged glances. "We heard that someone has settled in the old fortress," said the eldest. "They say goblins." "Goblins," Juho confirmed. "And you are with them?" "Distrust. With them. Why?" "I live here." The eldest hunter looked at him. He looked for a catch and did not find it. "You are human." "Yes." "Don't goblins eat people?" "No," said Juho calmly. "This is a prejudice. How do you know?" "I have been living with them for several months. Still alive?" The hunters were silent. "What do you want?" asked Juho. The eldest hesitated. Then he decided. "Our village broad is to the south. Things are bad with us. Taxes, illness, and winter." Pause. "We heard that goblins now live in the fortress and wanted to look." "Maybe trade." "Trade with goblins?" "Goblins hunt well, we heard. We need meat. We have grain, salt, iron." "Trade. First contact with people and immediately trade." "A good sign." "Wait here," said Juho. "I will talk with our elder." Croc at first did not want to. "People come and take." "We know." "These offer to pay," said Juho. "They say they pay. Then they take." "I will be present at the conversation. If something is wrong, my beasts are nearby," Croc thought. "They will see goblins in the fortress with stone walls. They will tell others. They will already tell they saw from outside. Better let them tell that we trade honestly than that we drive them away." Croc was not completely convinced, but he agreed. The hunters were led into the courtyard. Only the three. Juho stayed nearby. Goblins watched from the walls, from doors. Curiously, warily. The people looked at the goblins, then at the walls, then at Thunder, who was sitting by the tower and dozing. "What is that?" whispered one of the hunters. "Stone bear," said Juho. "Mine. Yours? Mine." The hunters exchanged glances. Fear noticeable, but they held. They bargained for a long time through Juho as translator. Croc was unexpectedly a good trader. He did not yield, but did not get arrogant either. He found a price that suited both. They exchanged 2 boar carcasses and a bundle of furs for a bag of salt and a small iron ingot. The hunters left. They looked back. The eldest at the gates turned to Juho. "They trade honestly," he said. Surprised. "Honestly? Will we come again?" "Come," said Juho. "The gates are open for those with good intentions." The hunter nodded. He left. Croc approached Juho. "Salt and iron," he said. He looked at the exchange with the look of a person who wants not to believe in luck. "Salt and iron," Juho confirmed. "Tink will be glad of the iron." "Tink will be glad." Croc suddenly laughed. A rare sound, goblin laughter, high, intermittent. "But real. We trade with people," he said as if he himself did not believe. "We goblins trade with people." First time? First time when they themselves came and themselves paid. A year has passed since Juho came to the settlement. He sat in the tower looking at the courtyard. He counted. Storage 142 creatures. New arrivals in the last months, interesting. Rock crab shell 4th rank, essentially a construction worker. With claws he split stone better than any tool. Earthworm sounds modest, looks unexpected. The size of a horse, digs tunnels. 5th rank, the highest so far. The fight with it almost ended badly. Shadow saved who attacked from the shadow when the worm threw Juho into the air. They captured it together. Several night creatures from the dark forest he risked entering at the edge. Dangerous, but the result was worth it. 3 night guards see in the dark, silent 4th rank. Storage is an army, diverse, multifunctional. Goblins 237. Growth continued. Rumors about goblins who live in the fortress and trade honestly spread. Loners came, small groups. Croc accepted everyone with the same conditions. They work, do not parasitize. The stronghold. Gates, Tink forged the hinges. Lewis the carpenter from the people who came to trade and stayed made them from wood. They close now. Both towers intact, repaired. Walls strengthened. Internal buildings 5. Barracks for the young, family houses for adults with children. Forge, warehouse, common kitchen for all. They broke a vegetable garden by the inner wall. Small but fresh greens every day. 13 people lived here permanently. Refugees, hunters, those who came to trade and did not leave. Not all from Broad, from different places. The first people in the Goblin Fortress. This is important. Louis the carpenter from Broad came to trade back in the 3rd month. He saw the fortress. He walked around everything slowly, meticulously, with the look of a master. He said to Juho, "The right tower can be saved. There the masonry is broken, I see where. If strengthened from inside with wooden props, it will hold for another 100 years. Can you?" "I can. How do you know how?" "Father built, and grandfather." Pause. "In Broad I have nothing to build. The village is small. Here there is something to build." Louis looked at him. "Work with goblins?" "Work with goblins," Juho confirmed. "Do they pay?" "With food and shelter. No money yet, no coins." "But they feed well," said Juho. "And it is interesting." Louis thought for 3 days. Then he returned with a bag of tools. "I stay," he said. Since then, Louis became the main builder of the stronghold. The goblins respected him. Not immediately. The first week they eyed him sideways. Then they saw that he worked more than everyone and did not complain. They accepted him. Louis taught how to build. He did not explain theory, he showed with his hands. Goblins learned quickly, especially the young, especially one named Skripa, 15 years old by goblin standards, already an adult. He watched every movement of Louis, copied. Tradition of transmission. At the end of the first year, the system updated. Carrier has reached the threshold. 140 creatures unlocked function. Evolution. Principle: the carrier can direct system resource to the evolution of a creature in storage. Evolution: the rank of the creature increases by 1 level. Limitation: 1 evolution every 3 months. Juho read, "Evolution. Once every 3 months. Whom?" He thought for a long time. Gray 1st rank. My first beast? Loyal, smart for a scar. If raised to 2nd rank, another level. Shadow is already 3rd rank. Raised to 4th? Thunder 2nd rank. To 3rd? Each option makes sense, he asked Gray. Directly the beast deserved to know. Gray? I can improve one of you. Raise 1 rank higher, once every 3 months. Whom I decide myself, but I want to know your opinion. Gray was silent for a long time. Shadow, he said. Why? Shadow is alone, without a pack, without us nearby. His task is to go first into danger. Pause, he needs to return. A Scar recommends evolution to the wolf because his task is more dangerous. Logic. Team. Shadow, Juho called. The wolf came out from the shadow of the corner. I heard, he said. Do you agree? Long silence. Yes, said Shadow. Evolution. Shadow wolf to shadow. Lord new abilities. Splitting creates up to 3 shadow copies. Shadow jump teleportation between shadows within a radius of 100 meters. Shadow blinked. He became slightly larger. Eyes silver, brighter. Around him the shadows seemed to become thicker. Interesting, said Shadow after a pause. He touched his own shadow with his paw. I feel them now. Shadows. He split, 3 identical wolves stood side by side. Gray watched. Scary, said Gray. For enemies, answered one of the shadows. For everyone, said Gray. The 2nd year. Good times of deliveries from Broad expanded. 3 villages now regularly traded with the Green Stronghold. Goblins 280. Storage 160 creatures. And Shadow brought news. Bad news. He returned early before dawn. He found Juho. Movement in the dark forest. Large. What exactly? Many creatures. I did not see all of them. It is dark there even for me. But I heard, they are going west. Towards us? How many? Hundreds. Pause. Maybe more. Juho stood up. He woke Croc. What kind of creatures? Asked the elder. Shadow did not determine the species. The dark forest is high rank usually. Croc did not panic. He thought, we are 280. How many creatures in your storage? 160 against hundreds. My 160 are not equal to 160 goblins, said Juho. Among them there are 4th rank, 5th rank. But if there are really hundreds and of high rank, it is difficult. What to do? Juho thought. First, information. We need to know exactly what is coming. Quantity, rank, speed of movement. Second, time. If it is a day's journey from the dark forest, we have a day, maximum 2. If they are moving fast. Third, allies. The human villages nearby. They are also in the threat zone if the creatures from the dark forest are moving west. Shadow, said Juho. We need accurate reconnaissance. I know it is dangerous, only from the edge to assess the numbers and rank. Understood. Gray, take 5, patrol around the fortress. Do not miss anything. Yes, Croc, gather the council. Adults, experienced ones. Explain the situation, do not scare, inform. Panic is worse than the enemy. Croc nodded. He went. Juho remained alone for a second. The first real crisis. Not trolls, 8 slow, stupid opponents. Something more serious. We will see. Shadow returned by noon. Juho waited on the wall. Reporting, said the wolf. The voice was even, but there was something tense in it. Hundreds is correct. I counted about 300 visible. They move in an organized way. This is not a wild horde. Who is leading? I saw one large one. A dark dragon, young, not large, 5th rank. He is going in front. A dark dragon is leading an army towards us, to the west in general. But the stronghold is the first thing they will meet. Juho looked at the map. 300 creatures. A young dragon of the 5th rank is leading. My forces are 160, of which the strongest is the earthworm of the 5th rank. 1 against 1 with the dragon is unclear. The rest of mine are 3-4 rank at maximum. In numbers roughly equal. In rank, the dragon gives them an advantage. Plus the human villages behind us. If they break through, it will be bad for the people. He called Lewis. Lewis, you are from Broad. Can the village field people for battle? Lewis frowned. For defense, not attack. To hold the walls of the stronghold together. How much time do we have? A day at most, Lewis estimated. In Broad, there are 12 men who know how to hold a weapon. In the other villages, the same. If I manage to ride there and return with them, will you manage? If I leave now and with a horse. Thunder called Juho. The bear approached, Lewis to Broad. Quickly. Lewis looked at the stone bear. On the bear? Faster than a horse on short distances and safer. Lewis exhaled. Good. He climbed onto Thunder's back. Thunder left the gates at a heavy gallop. 20 hours until the appearance of the army according to Shadow's calculation. Juho organized. The goblins did not hide. They worked. Croc explained the situation at the council. Everyone understood. There was fear, but fear without panic. 280 goblins who had been driven away all their lives. Now they have walls, and they will hold them. Placement, scars on the walls, 23. During attack, they jump on those who try to climb over. Night guards 3 pieces, 4th rank. At night, it is their element. They see in complete darkness, attack silently. Trophy trolls at the gates. 2 trolls at the closed gates are a good plug. Thunder in the courtyard. Reserve. Earthworm. Juho named him Burr Underground. He dug tunnels under the approach to the fortress. Tactic to come out from below at the right moment. Shadow reconnaissance and flank strikes. 3 copies in the darkness create confusion for the attackers. Swamp slugs on the walls. Acid down on the attackers. Needle and arrow-tailed ones, long-range fire. Goblins not in direct combat. Stones from the walls, boiling water. They found cauldrons in the basement, lit them. Archers, 2 of them had bows. Echeloned defense. Each layer does what it can. Lewis returned after 8 hours. Not alone. Behind him, 31 people with axes, bows, pitchforks. Not an army, people who decided to stand. Juho met them at the gates. More than I thought, said Lewis. I told them about the dragon, Lewis replied. Some left, these stayed. Why? Because their families are here. Pause. And because you are not afraid of the dragon. I am afraid, Juho said honestly. But you stand. But I stand, Lewis nodded. We too. At night, it was quiet. Shadow reported, the army stopped for the night 2 hours away. In the morning, they will move. Juho sat on the wall, alone. He looked at the stars. No 2 suns at night, only stars. Unfamiliar constellations of this world. Almost 2 years in Valor, it started with 4 scars by the stream. Now 160 beasts in storage, 280 goblins, 31 people who came to stand next to them, and a dragon in the morning. Gray came. He lay down nearby. Master is thinking, he said. Thinking? About what? About the dragon. About what will happen in the morning. Will we win? Juho looked at the stars. I don't know, he said honestly, but we will try. Gray pressed against his leg. Warm? Heavy? We are with you, said the lizard. All of us. Juho lowered his hand. He touched Gray's scales. 15 months ago, the first battle with 4 lizards by the stream. He fell, bleeding, barely defeated 3. Now these 3 and another 157 are waiting for dawn nearby. Gray, said Juho. Yes, you are the first one I took. Do you know that? I know. Tomorrow be careful. Gray tilted his head. You too. Dawn came quickly. Shadow's first report. The army has moved. 1 hour to the stronghold. Everyone to their places. Juho on the wall, in the center. Everything is visible from here. Goblins are silent. They clutch stones. They look at the horizon. People stand next to goblins. Pitchforks, axes. Lewis at the gates with a hammer. They appeared. The dark forest on the horizon came alive. A wave of dark bodies. Different ones. Shadow described them as various dark creatures. Now visible, dark wolves, shadow boars, bonehounds, dark monsters, spawn of the dark forest, and in front the dragon. Not large by dragon standards, about 6 meters in length, black scales, wings folded. He walked on foot, did not fly. He looked at the fortress. He stopped about 100 steps away. He looked. Juho stepped fully onto the wall. He stood. He looked back. The dragon spoke. A low voice like distant thunder. The system translated. People and goblins in the old fortress? Unusual. It happens, said Juho. You speak the language of beasts. I speak. Why do you stand in the way? This is our home, said Juho. We stand because it is ours. The dragon looked at him for a long time, then at the goblins on the walls, at the people nearby. We are 300. You are fewer. We are enough, said Juho. Why die for goblins? It is not only goblins. These are my people. All who are behind these walls. The dragon was silent. Something changed in his silence. Not anger, something else. You are a carrier, said the dragon unexpectedly. I feel your storage. He feels the system. Yes, how many do you have? Enough. The dragon took 1 step forward. He stopped. I do not want war, he said. If I wanted to, I would have already attacked. This caught Juho by surprise. He expected an attack, not a conversation. Then why did you come? We were driven out of the dark forest. Something bigger came there, we left. We need a place. Driven out of their own forest. Refugees. 300 creatures, refugees. Juho looked at the army behind the dragon. He looked differently now. Not an attacking army, a column of refugees. He turned to Croc, who stood nearby. Croc looked at the dragon, then at Juho. And in the elder's eyes, there was something recognizing. A goblin who had been in exile all his life looked at a dragon who had been driven out of his home. Ask him, said Croc quietly. What they need. Juho turned to the dragon. What do you need? The dragon looked at him. A place, he said. Simply a place where we will not be driven away. Silence on the walls. Goblins looked down at the dragon. People looked at Juho. They waited. Juho stood. 300 creatures from the dark forest, driven out by something bigger. They want a place. The risk is huge. Who knows what the character of these creatures is? Who knows if the dragon is deceiving? But Croc looks at him as he would look at himself in the mirror. Exile to exile, and 300 creatures of different ranks. If they are allies and not enemies, the green stronghold ceases to be a small fortress. He turned to Croc. Your decision, said Juho quietly, not mine. This is your home. Croc looked at him in surprise. He did not expect it. Mine? Yours. I am an advisor. You are the elder. Croc looked down at the dragon for a long time, at the army behind him, at the faces of the creatures different, dark, alien. Then he looked at his own, at the goblins whom he himself had accepted one by one, in twos, in families. Each of them once stood at the gates a stranger, homeless, with empty hands. "How were we accepted?" asked Croc. Not to Juho, to himself. He answered himself. "In no way. We were driven away." Pause. "And Zuho accepted us." He stood straight, he raised his staff. He shouted down in Goblin, loudly, "Open the gates!" The trolls at the gates looked at Juho. Juho nodded. The gates opened. The dragon entered alone. The others remained outside. The dragon trusted or was checking. Unclear for now. In the courtyard, they stood face to face. Juho, Croc, Lewis on one side, the dragon on the other. Thunder sat by the wall and demonstratively did not look at the dragon, but his nostrils moved. "What is your name?" asked Juho. "Darkness," said the dragon. "Darkness." Juho nodded. "I am Juho. This is Croc, elder of the goblins. This is Lewis, representative of the people who live here." Darkness looked at each. He stopped at Croc. The goblin opened the gates. "The goblin made the decision," said Juho. "Why? Ask him." Darkness looked at Croc. Croc looked back without fear. A little green old man with a crooked staff in front of a 6-meter black dragon. "We were also driven away," said Croc simply. "For a long time, everywhere." Darkness was silent. Then something in his posture changed. His shoulders straightened a little. "I understand," he said. "I know you understand," said Croc. They looked at each other, goblin and dragon. Juho stood and was silent. This moment did not need a translator. Then Croc turned to Juho. "Conditions. The same as for everyone." "The same as for everyone," Juho repeated to the dragon. "Whoever lives here works, does not attack their own, observes the rules established by the council." "Council? Croc and the elders. Soon all who live here." "Decisions are made together," Darkness thought. "My creatures are different. Some are dangerous even for me." "Dangerous ones behave like everyone," said Juho, "or they leave." "Can you make them?" "I can try." Pause. "You are their leader. You can make them." The dragon looked at him. "You are smart for a carrier." "I try. Most carriers see only strength in creatures. Capture, use." "I see creatures," said Juho. "The difference." Darkness lowered his head. Not a combat gesture. Among dragons it meant something. "We will accept the conditions," he said. 500 creatures in the green stronghold and around it. The fortress did not hold everyone. Most settled outside near the walls. A temporary camp. The first night was tense. Goblins did not sleep. They looked from behind the walls at the dark creatures outside. The dark creatures looked at the goblins. People held weapons. Juho walked back and forth, outside and inside. Outside he talked with the creatures, one by one. Shadow helped translate the languages the system did not give directly. Bonehounds looked evil but spoke little. They obeyed Darkness. Shadow boars were silent, wary, not aggressive. Dark wolves, a different species than Shadow. They looked at him with interest. The incident happened towards midnight. One of the dark wolves, large with a torn ear, came too close to the wall. A goblin on the wall threw a stone out of nerves, not out of malice. The wolf barked. He jumped towards the wall, Gray from the other side instantly between them. "Stop," said Gray in the language of beasts. The dark wolf looked at the small Scar who stood in front of him. "You are small," said the wolf. "Yes," Gray agreed. "But hear my master. His rules. Stop." The wolf bared his teeth, then slowly retreated. Juho watched from the side. Gray, first rank. He stopped a third-rank creature not by force but by word. Reputation works. In the morning, Darkness gathered his own. He spoke. Briefly, firmly. Juho did not hear but saw the result. The creatures calmed down. The tension eased. Lewis approached Juho. "Did it pass?" "For now," said Juho. "We need to work." After 3 days, Juho gathered the council. The first big council of the Green Stronghold. In the courtyard, all representatives sat. Croc from the goblins, Lewis from the people, Darkness from the dark creatures, Rick, that same goblin with a difficult character, from the young goblins. He had changed over the year, worked honestly, earned a place in the council. Gray, Juho included him. Not because a Scar's voice was needed, because of the principle. All who live here participate. Gray sat next to Croc and looked seriously. Juho stood in the center. "There are many of us now," he began. "Different species, different habits. This is good and this is difficult. Pause. We need rules for everyone. He spoke for a long time, clearly, point by point. First, safety. No one attacks their own. Inside the walls and within a day's journey, everyone is their own. Second, work. Everyone contributes what they can. Creatures from the dark forest, many are strong. Construction, guard, hunting. Goblins are skilled with their hands. People have knowledge and trade. Third, decisions. The council decides together. Ju-Ho is an advisor, not a ruler. Croc is the elder of the goblins. Darkness is the elder of the dark creatures. Lewis is the voice of the people. Fourth, outsiders. Whoever comes in peace, we accept with conditions. Whoever comes with a threat, we answer all together. Darkness listened silently. Then, you are talking about what people call a state. I am talking about a community, Ju-Ho corrected. State later, first survive together. The difference? A state is rules for control. A community is rules for living together, Darkness thought. What prevents you from taking power? He asked directly. You are a carrier. The strongest here individually. The strongest person in the village does not become the best ruler, said Ju-Ho. The best ruler is the one who is listened to because they trust, not because they fear. Pause. I want to be trusted. Darkness was silent for a long time. A strange carrier, he said again. I have already heard this, said Ju-Ho. 6 months after the arrival of the dark creatures. The green stronghold had changed beyond recognition. 523 inhabitants. Plus Ju-Ho's storage. 184 creatures. In total, the forces were more than serious. Construction was explosive. The dark creatures turned out to be incredible builders, not because they always knew how, because some of them were created for physical labor. Bonehounds are not only fighters, their claws cut stone. Dark wolves quickly carried materials. Rock crab shell together with Burr the worm turned construction into something unseen. Burr dug foundations in hours. Shell chipped stones of the right size. Lewis directed. He shouted at everyone indiscriminately, at goblins, at creatures, at people. Shouting at a dark wolf is not scary when 2 trolls who know you stand nearby. Lewis found himself in this chaos, the main builder of an army of different creatures. In 6 months grew, a second wall, external. Farther from the first, covering a larger territory. Inside space for several hundred new residents, 3 new towers, tall, stone, with observation platforms. A large stone warehouse with basements where Burr dug huge pits for storage. A market square between the 2 walls. Every week trade. Now not 3 villages came, 8. News about a strange place where goblins, people, and dark creatures lived together spread. Darkness brought more creatures, not from the dark forest, refugees from the south. Rumors about the stronghold reached them. Rumors spread quickly when they tell about the impossible. Tink grew. Not in age, in skill. Iron from trade with people, Ju-Ho's advice, his own sharp mind. All this turned the goblin into a real blacksmith. But the real breakthrough happened when Tink became friends with Darkness. The dragon knew about metal. He did not forge, but he knew. Dark dragons felt metal instinctively, felt its temperature, composition. Darkness sat next to the forge and spoke. Tink listened and forged. Temperature is insufficient, said Darkness. The metal is not ready. How to understand? Asked Tink. Color. You see orange. Need white. Give more heat. Tink gave more heat. The metal changed. Now, said Darkness. Tink struck. The result was always better. After 3 months of such training, Tink forged things that Lewis had never seen. Brackets of special shape that held stone stronger than usual. Hinges that did not rust. Blades that held sharpening twice as long. A goblin blacksmith and a black dragon. A metallurgical alliance. Lewis once watched their work. Then he found Ju-Ho. This is impossible, he said. What exactly? Such hinges, such metal. He shook his head. I have been building for 30 years. I have never seen a goblin make anything like this. Tink is special, said Ju-Ho. And the dragon is special. They found each other. Lewis was silent. Do you know what is the strangest thing? He said. When you watch them work, you forget that one is a goblin and the other is a dragon. Yes, said Ju-Ho. Exactly. A year after the arrival of the dark creatures, the big council gathered again. 741 inhabitants. 741 Juho knew exactly. He kept count himself every month. Croc helped with the goblins, Darkness with the dark creatures, Lewis with the people. They sat in the large hall, repaired, with a roof that was fixed this summer. Spacious, bright. Skripa made windows, Tink forged the frames. They inserted pieces of transparent stone found in the basement. The first windows in the history of the Green Stronghold. Croc opened the council. There are many of us, he said. More than there has ever been in these walls. More than there has been in any place where goblins lived as far as I remember. Respectful silence. We have been living together for a year, Croc continued. It was difficult. It will be even more difficult. Pause. But we live. Darkness nodded. In a dragon way, slowly, significantly. Lewis did not nod. He looked at the table. Juho knew why Lewis was not used to such gatherings. A village carpenter who became the representative of the people on the council with goblins and a dragon. He will get used to it. I want to raise a question, said Juho. Everyone looked. There are many of us. The stronghold is growing. Pause. Others see this. People see. Feudal see. What does see mean? Asked Darkness. It means they will come soon, not with war yet, with questions, with demands, with claims that this land is theirs. The land is no one's, said Darkness. Feudals think differently. We can defend ourselves. We can, Juho agreed. But war with a feudal is not one battle. It is long, expensive, difficult. Better to negotiate before war. How? Become so useful that fighting us would be unprofitable. Darkness looked. This sounds like weakness. This sounds like cleverness, said Juho. Victory in battle is one day. A beneficial alliance is years. Rek the young goblin raised his hand. What kind of alliance with those who drove us away? Not an alliance of equals, Juho said honestly. Not now. For now, an agreement. We give them something valuable. They leave us alone. What valuable do we have? Juho looked around the hall. Tink and Darkness's forge is the best metal in the region. Trade with 8 villages, soon more. Protection, our army stopped trolls, and no one else in the area risks attacking the villages that trade with us. Pause. We are already valuable. We need the feudals to see this before they decide that it is cheaper to destroy us. Silence. Croc nodded slowly. Zuho is right. I saw this before with different eyes. Pause. Will you go yourself? Myself, said Juho. The nearest feudal is Baron Tars. 3 days' journey. Juho learned about him from traders. An average feudal, not as harsh as Horst from the previous world, not soft. A pragmatist. He loves money more than war, a good type for negotiations. He took Lewis with him. A human nearby creates the right first impression, and shadow, invisible, nearby, just in case. The road is 3 days, they talked with Lewis. Are you afraid? Asked Juho. A little, Lewis said honestly. It is the first time I am going to a baron. I am also a little afraid. You? Yes. Lewis was silent. But you are going. But I am going. Pause. Lewis, do you know what is the strangest thing in this world? What? That it is not very different from any other. Everywhere the strong press the weak. Everywhere the smart one can negotiate where the stupid one fights. Everywhere people want one thing, to live calmly, to feed their children, not to fear tomorrow. Lewis thought, do goblins want this too? Goblins especially, said Juho. They have been without it for a long time. And the dragon? Darkness wants the same. He just calls it differently. Lewis looked at the road. When I went to trade for the first time, I thought the goblins would eat me, he said. I stayed because Croc paid honestly and Gray did not bite. Gray is very patient. Yes, Lewis agreed. He was silent. Juho, yes. What you are building is big. For now it is small. For now, Lewis agreed. But it is visible where it is going. Where? Lewis shrugged. Not a village, not just a fortress. Pause. Something of its own. New. Juho looked at the road. Something of its own. New. Maybe. The Baron's castle is strong, well kept. It was clear that the owner was watching. Tars received him on the second day. Juho did not object to waiting. He inspected the town at the castle. Small, lively, trading. Not a poor feudal. His trade was good. Such a one values even better trade. Baron Tars, about 50 years old, broad, with a short beard. He looked at Juho and Lewis with curiosity. "I have heard about you," said Tars without preamble. "The green stronghold. Goblins, people, and they say something from the dark forest." "Correct," said Juho. "Are the dark creatures under control?" "Under agreement. The difference is important." "What difference?" "Under control they are held by force. Under agreement they are held by benefit." "Benefit is more reliable." Tars looked. "You speak wisely, I try." "What do you want from me?" "Recognition, official. That the Green Stronghold is a separate territory, not under your power, but in alliance." "Why should I give away territory?" "Not give away, recognize what already exists." Pause. The land where the stronghold stands was empty. An abandoned fortress no one needed. We restored it, populated it, defended. "And you trade," said Tars. "I heard about your market. 8 villages travel there. Soon more." "Do my villages also trade with you?" 3 of yours already trade. The rest can." Tars drummed his fingers on the table. "What will I get from the alliance?" Juho took out a small knife. He placed it on the table. "Work of Tink," he said. "The best blacksmith in the region. A goblin trained by a dragon." Tars took the knife. He examined it. He tried the blade. "Good steel," he said. His voice changed. "Professional interest." "Very good. We can supply such metal, weapons, tools, at a contractual price lower than market." Pause. "In exchange, recognition and non-interference." "And protection of your trade routes?" asked Tars. "This is mutual. The villages that are under your protection and trade with us, we also do not let them be offended." "Trolls?" "Trolls no longer walk this way," said Juho calmly. Tars looked for a long time. "Who are you?" he asked. "The same question. Everywhere the same. A traveler from a very distant place. Travelers do not build fortresses, this one builds." Tars with a slight smile. Not warm, evaluating, but honest. "I will come to look at your stronghold," he said. "Personally. If I see what you describe, we will sign the agreement." "Come," said Juho. "The gates are open." Tars arrived after 2 weeks, with a guard of 10 people. He looked at the road to the stronghold, at the walls, at the gates. In the courtyard he was met by Croc, Lewis, Darkness. At the sight of the dragon, Tars' hand twitched toward his sword. It stopped. Darkness looked at him calmly. Folded wings, lowered head, no threat. "Welcome to the Green Stronghold," said Darkness, in human language, specially for the guest. Tars exhaled. The dragon speaks the human language. "The dragon can do a lot," said Juho. Tars was led through the entire stronghold for 3 hours. The market, the forge, the warehouses, the towers. They showed everything. Tink forged in his presence. A knife, then a bracket, then a small axe. Quickly, cleanly. Tars watched the work. "How old is he? By our count, 19, said Juho. "By goblin, an adult young one. 19 in such metal. He has an unusual teacher." Darkness stood aside, silent. Tars glanced at him. "A dragon teaches a goblin blacksmithing. A dragon and a goblin together make better metal than each could separately," said Juho. Tars stood by the forge for a long time. He watched how Tink worked, then to Juho. "The agreement." "The agreement," Juho agreed. Juho, Tars, Croc. Lewis sat. Darkness outside. His presence at the negotiations was the right gesture at the meeting. Inside it would have been pressure. A subtle difference, but important. Lewis wrote the agreement. He knew how to write. In Broad, there was a small school. Lewis studied in childhood. The main points. The Green Stronghold is an independent territory, under the management of the council. Baron Tars does not interfere. Villages within a radius of 2 days' journey that trade with the stronghold are under joint protection. The stronghold supplies metal to the Baron at a fixed price, a quarter lower than market. The Baron provides the trade route to the south, protection of the roads. Term of the agreement 5 years, then review. Tars read. Independence is a lot, he said. This is the reality that you recognize, said Juho. You do not give it. Metal at a price lower than market is good for me. And for you and for us, we need a sales market. Protection of the roads from the side, Tars thought. 10 of my people on 3 routes. Enough. Tars read it once more. He took the pen. He signed. Juho signed. Croc did not know how to write. He put aside a goblin runic symbol that meant the name. Ancient, from a language that goblins had not used for hundreds of years. Croc remembered. Tars looked at the runic sign. What is this? A goblin name, said Croc in human. Mine. Do you speak the human language? I am learning, said Croc. A year I am learning. Pause, searching for the word. Difficult, but I am learning. For the first time during all this time, Tars looked not with political interest, with something else. You know how to surprise, said Juho. I say what is needed, Croc replied in Goblin. Juho translated. Tars laughed, unexpectedly, sincerely. 2 years in the world of Valor. Storage 217 creatures. The system's second threshold. Carrier has reached the threshold. 200 creatures unlocked. Pack connection. Principle, the carrier can unite up to 10 creatures of one type into a pack. Acts as a single whole. Coordination instantaneous. Total strength higher than the sum of individuals. Limitation, the pack requires a leader, a creature of the same type in storage pack connection. Packs, Scars 23. Gray is the leader. A pack of Scars. Arrow-tailed birds 7. Needle is the leader. Night guards 5. Juho formed the packs methodically. Gray received the status of leader officially. The Scars reacted, their coordination and patrol changed. Before they walked separately, now an exact grid without words, without command. Gray understood immediately. I hear them, he said. All at once. How? The way you hear your own heart. It is simply there. Needle with the birds. Now 7 arrow-tailed ones shot at one target simultaneously, not on command. By Needle's glance. 7 arrows into one point at the same time, another level. But the most interesting was Shadow. There were now 3 Shadow Wolves in storage. He captured 2 after they themselves approached, as Shadow himself had once done. Reputation worked. The pack of Shadows, 3 Shadow Lords, each with 3 copies. In total, 12 Shadows in the darkness. Each instantly teleports between shadows. The first time when Shadow showed the pack in action, Darkness watched silently for a minute. This is dangerous, said the dragon. For enemies, Shadow replied. For everyone, Gray repeated. Tradition, the 8th month after the alliance. Shadow brought news that Juho had both waited for and not waited for. From the dark forest came out what drove out darkness, said the wolf. What is it? The Dark Lord, ancient, huge. Pause. 5th rank, but old 5th rank. There is a difference. Where is it moving? Nowhere for now. It stands at the edge of the forest. It looks. Juho called darkness. The dragon heard. He was silent for a long time. This is the one who drove us out, said Darkness quietly. Do you know him? I know, the Dark Spider Arc. Older than all of us. Not evil, simply ancient. It needs space, a lot of space. We interfered. Will it come here? If it decides that we interfere, yes. When? I do not know. It may be tomorrow. It may be in a year. Juho sat, he thought. The Dark Spider. 5th rank, ancient. My strongest are Burr, 5th rank, young. Darkness, 5th rank, young dragon. 1 against 1 is unclear, but together. Darkness, said Juho. Your creatures are all from the dark forest. The spider is also dark. When it comes to a meeting, you will need to choose a side. Darkness looked straight. We have already chosen, he said, a year ago, when we entered the gates. That same night, Juho sat by a fire in the courtyard. Everyone came. Gray lay down nearby, as always. Shadow sat opposite, quiet, silver eyes. Thunder by the wall, dozing but one ear raised. Darkness lay a little away, huge, dark, but nearby. Croc came himself. He sat by the fire, silent. Lewis came last, with a mug. He handed it to Juho. Herbal, he said. Your favorite. How do you know it is favorite? I have been watching for 2 years. Juho took the mug. They sat by the fire, a human, a goblin, a lizard, a wolf, a bear, a dragon? Unfamiliar stars. The 2 suns had set long ago. Zuho, said Croc quietly. Yes? What will happen with the spider? We will figure it out. Are you sure? Juho looked into the fire. An accountant who died with a bottle of water in his hand, reborn with a system that captures creatures. 2 years, 184 beasts in storage, 741 inhabitants of the stronghold in agreement with the feudal. Against the dark spider? Ancient. 5th rank. Not sure. No, he said honestly. Croc nodded. Good that you are honest. But we will try. I know. Pause. We will all try. Gray raised his head. We are with you, he said. The first thing he said then, a year ago on the wall before the battle, again. Shadow from the darkness, we are with you. Thunder without opening his eyes. Bears always stand. Darkness quietly, like distant thunder. We are with you. Lewis simply without pathos, and me. Where else to go? Croc last. He tapped his staff on the stone of the courtyard. And us, all 280 goblins. Juho looked into the fire. 1 human by the stream with 4 lizards. Now this. He raised the mug. Then let us try together. Shadow brought a description. They sat in the large hall. Juho, Darkness, Croc, Shadow. The others outside. This conversation was for those who truly understood what danger meant. Tell in detail, said Juho. Shadow spoke slowly. He chose words, a wolf who was used to thinking before speaking. Ark is not just a large monster. He is so old that he has no rank in the usual sense. 5th rank is the ceiling of the system. Ark is beyond the ceiling. The system reads him as 5th because there is no higher number. How is this possible? Age. A very long life changes a creature. Strength accumulates slowly over centuries. Ark is older than this forest, older than these mountains probably. Darkness nodded. Correct. My father spoke of Ark as something that has always been. Not an enemy, simply a force. Like a river. Not evil, but if you stand in the way. It will sweep away, Juho finished. Yes, does it think? Does it understand speech? It thinks, said Shadow. Slowly. Differently. Not like us. Pause. I approached close in the shadows. It did not sense me. It looked at the stronghold. For a long time. Then it went back into the forest. What does looked mean? I do not know. Was it evaluating? Just looking? Shadow was silent. It has no face in our understanding. A spider. 8 eyes. All looked at the stronghold at the same time. Croc sat quietly. Then, will it come? It will come, said Shadow. The question is when and why. Juho did not begin to prepare for battle. This surprised Darkness. Why are we not strengthening the walls, not training the creatures? We are strengthening, said Juho. But first understand what Ark wants. It wants space. Darkness said. That is why it left the forest. But why does it look at the stronghold? Why did it not pass by? Darkness thought. I do not know. So we need to find out. How? Talk with it. Long silence. Ark does not talk with small ones, said Darkness. Has it never tried, or do they just say so? Darkness? They just say so, the dragon admitted. Then we will try. Juho and Shadow went together. Darkness wanted to go. Juho refused. Ark drove you out of the forest. Your presence is a signal of conflict. Better alone. You alone are defenseless. Shadow is nearby. And I want to try negotiations without threat. Darkness looked. He did not agree but accepted. The road to the dark forest was half a day. Shadow walked nearby, visible, to demonstrate that they were not hiding. The forest looked different even from afar. Trees black, leaves dark blue. The air at the edge denser as if. The smell deep, old, earthy. They stopped at the edge. Juho looked into the darkness between the trees. Nothing. Silence, then movement. Not fast, slow, almost unnoticeable. Something huge moved in the depths. Between the trees a gleam. 8 points at the same time. Eyes. It is here. It is looking. Juho raised his hand. Open palm. No weapon. Arc, he said. Loudly, clearly. In the language of beasts that the system gave. Silence. My name is Juho. I live in the fortress to the west. Pause, I want to talk. Silence for a long minute. 2. Then a voice, not a voice in the usual sense. Vibration. The ground under the feet trembled slightly. The trees swayed weakly. The sound was everywhere at once, from below, from above, from all sides. The system translated with difficulty, as if the language was too old. I hear, little one. You speak. It hears. It answers. You hear, said Juho. Good. Why? You came. I want to understand what you need. You are looking at our fortress. I want to know why. Long silence. Juho waited. Shadow nearby, almost not breathing. Nervous. Even a Shadow Lord is nervous next to Arc. An incomprehensible place. Goblins, people, dark ones. Together. Yes, we live together. Why? Why? An interesting question from a creature older than these mountains. Because each of us is weaker separately. Together we are stronger. Pause. Weak ones together. Interesting. You drove the creatures out of the dark forest because you needed space. Juho continued. I understand this. You did not do it out of malice, simply needed space. Yes, we do not claim your forest. The stronghold is on the other side. We do not interfere with you. For now. For now, Juho agreed. You are worried that when we grow, we will come into the forest. Silence very long. Smart little one. I try. Pause. Arc, I offer an agreement. Agreement? We do not enter your forest. Never. Neither we nor our allies. The border is clear. Pause. In exchange, you do not touch the stronghold and all who are with us. Silence. Long. Very long. Juho stood and waited. Negotiations with a creature that thinks in a different tempo. Patience. Finally, Yaksamoi. Why do you need my answer? You are weak. I can simply... You can, said Juho calmly. You are stronger. Much. Pause, but you looked at the stronghold. You did not attack. That means you thought. Pause. That means something about us interests you. Silence. Then the ground trembled stronger. Not threateningly, differently, like a deep exhalation. Curious little ones. Goblins with a dragon. People with a wolf. A carrier who speaks with an ancient one. We are different, Juho agreed. Maybe this is interesting. Agreement. I will think. How long to think? Long. Maybe a summer. Maybe a year. While you think, peace? Pause. Peace. The eyes in the darkness blinked. They went out. Movement in the depths of the forest, the creature left. Shadow exhaled next to Juho. You talked with Arc, he said quietly, as if he himself did not believe. I talked. No one has talked with Arc? Never. No one has tried. Shadow looked at him. You are a strange carrier. I hear this constantly. They returned by evening. Darkness waited at the gates. He saw them alive, unharmed, and something in the dragon's tense posture released. What? Peace while it thinks, said Juho. Maybe a summer, maybe a year. You talked with it? I talked. Darkness was silent for a long time. My father tried to talk with Arc when it came into the forest. He said finally. Arc did not answer. It passed by. Maybe your father did not ask the right thing, said Juho. What did you ask? What it needs? Pause. You did not beg. You did not threaten. You simply asked. Darkness looked at him for a long time. A simple question. The most important questions are simple. The next day, the council. Juho told everything, without embellishment. Tars was present. He came on trade matters, stayed for the council. By the agreement, he had the right. He listened. Silent. Croc after the story. It said peace. That means time. Time, Juho agreed. We will use it? For what? For everything, said Croc. We build, we grow, we learn. While it thinks we become bigger. Rick raised his hand. If Ark says no, war? Possibly. Are we ready? Juho did not rush with the answer. Now no. In a year maybe. Pause, but I do not want war with Ark. I want the agreement to be. Why? Asked Rick directly. You say that it thinks, that it is interested. But it drove out darkness. It drove out hundreds of creatures. Why trust? Not trust, respect, Juho corrected. Ark did not do evil for the sake of evil. It needs space, it takes it. This is strength, not malice. With strength, one can talk. With malice, it is more difficult, Rick thought. There is a difference, he finally agreed. Tars raised his hand. Juho nodded. I came for trade, said the Baron. But I hear about a spider older than the mountains, and that is silent for a year while it thinks. Pause. My villages are in the risk zone if this begins. I know. What should I do? A feudal asks what to do from a former accountant from another world. Life is unusual. Strengthen the villages on your side, said Juho. Not panic, calmly. Reserves, protection, connection with us. If something happens, we will be the first to know, the first to warn. Tars nodded. Seriously, without panic. A pragmatic person. I will order more metal from your blacksmith, he said. Tink will be glad. 6 months after the conversation with Ark, Ark was silent. Shadow checked once a week. The creature in the depths of the forest, motionless, thinking. Thinking. 6 months. It has a different time. The stronghold at this time did not stand still. Population 912. For the first time, almost crossed the 1,000 mark. Dwarves came. A small group 7. They lost a mine in the south, collapsed, people took it. They heard about the stronghold. Juho looked at the dwarves at the first meeting, stocky, bearded, gloomy. They look at everything with professional distrust of a miner. What can you do? Asked Juho. Dig, said the eldest dwarf. His name was Dorn. Stone, metal, ore. Everything that is underground. Dig. I have Burr the earthworm who digs tunnels. But a mine is different. A proper mine, with reinforcement, with ventilation. Is there stone under the stronghold? Asked Dorn. Burr checked, said Juho. There is. What exactly I do not know. Dorn looked at the ground. He tapped with his boot. I feel iron, he said. Deep, but there is. Our own ore, said Juho quietly. Tink will find out and turn the forge upside down with joy. Conditions? Asked Dorn. The same as for everyone. Pause. Plus a share of what is mined. A quarter of the ore is yours? The rest is common, Dorn thought. In dwarf way, briefly, without extra words. Good. The first ore from the mine after a month. Dorn brought a piece. Dark, heavy, with reddish veins. Tink took it. He turned it. He smelled it literally, pressed it to his nose. Darkness watched. Good, said the dragon. Very good, Tink agreed, his voice like a child who was given the best gift. What can you make from it? Asked Dorn. Tink was no longer listening. He went to the forge. Dorn looked after him. Enthusiastic, he said. Yes, Juho agreed. A goblin blacksmith I see for the first time. Tink is special, visible. Dorn shook his head. He feels metal better than some dwarves I know. Praise from a dwarf to a blacksmith is rare. Tink would have appreciated it if he had heard. After 3 days, Tink came out of the forge. He carried out a sword, not large, medium, but everyone who looked at it felt something different. Hard to explain in words, the sword was right. Precisely right. Dorn took it. He looked for a long time. He tried the balance. Silent. Then he returned it to Tink. He said one word. Master. Tink blushed. As much as a goblin can blush. Darkness from behind quietly. I thought so. Skripa, Lewis's apprentice, grew. Not in age. In skill. Lewis once came to Juho. I have nothing more to teach him, he said simply. He learned everything? He learned what I know. Pause. Now he does what I cannot. What exactly? Look, they went to the eastern tower. Skripa stood by the wall with a piece of charcoal and a sheet of skin. He was drawing. Juho approached. He looked at the drawing. A building scheme. Detailed with sizes with indication where what stone, where wood. What is this? Asked Juho. Skripa raised his gaze. A young goblin, 22 years old, quiet. Always quiet. But when he spoke precisely. A new quarter, he said. Between the first and second wall. If built like this, it will fit another 150 residents. If like this, fewer, but each family will have a courtyard. Juho looked at the scheme. This is an architectural plan, a real one. Did you study this? No, I watched how Lewis builds. I thought. Pause. I like to think about space. Space? How people live in space. What they need nearby. Where light, where shadow, where water, where fire. Pause. If you place the forge close to housing, smoke interferes. If far, it is difficult to carry metal. A right point is needed. Lewis stood nearby and was silent, proudly like a master looks at an apprentice who has surpassed him. Skripa, said Juho, this is your work now, to plan how the stronghold grows. Skripa looked at him. He did not expect it. I am a goblin. I see. Usually a goblin is not an architect. In the green stronghold for the first time, a lot of things, said Juho. Get used to it. Juho one morning gathered the children. Goblin children 43, children of people who lived in the stronghold 7, young creatures from the dark ones, several. Croc watched. What did you plan? A school. A school. A place where they teach, to read, to count, to think. Goblins do not know how to read, they will know how. Why does a goblin need to read? For the same reason Tink needs to know how to forge, said Juho. Tink forged without training, he felt. But when Darkness explained the theory, he became better. Knowledge and feeling together are stronger than each separately. Croc thought, who will teach? Lewis knows how to read. I know how. Pause. Darkness knows a lot, more than any of us separately. Will the dragon teach children? If he agrees. He asked Darkness. The dragon was silent for a long time. I have never taught. The first time is always the first. Are the children not afraid of me? The goblin children are not. Pause. The human ones a little, but they will get used to it. Darkness looked at the children who were bustling in the courtyard. What to teach about? About the world, about creatures, about the forest. You know this better than any textbook. Textbook? A book with knowledge. We do not have one yet. Shall we make one? We shall make one, said Juho. The first lesson. Darkness lay down in the courtyard. The children sat down around him. Goblin children without fear, curious. Human ones at the edge, wary. Several young creatures between the two groups. Darkness looked at all of them with his eyes. No, not with 8 eyes. A dragon has 2 eyes. Just a gaze that was all-encompassing. Who knows what the dark forest is, he asked. Silence. No one. Good, I will tell you. He spoke for a long time. Juho listened from the side. Darkness turned out to be a good storyteller. Not dry facts or history. About the creatures of the dark forest, about their habits, about how they think. The children listened as if enchanted. Even the human ones forgot to be afraid. One boy, Tim, 8 years old, son of Lewis, moved closer. Then even closer. At the end, he sat 3 steps from the dragon and looked up from below. After the lesson, Tim approached Darkness. Mr. Dragon, he said seriously. Darkness looked at him. Yes, was it scary in the dark forest? A long pause. Sometimes, said Darkness. I am also sometimes scared, said Tim, when it is dark at night. What do you do? I think about Papa. When Papa is nearby, it is not scary. Darkness looked at the boy. Smart, he said. And who do you think about? Asked Tim. Darkness was silent. Now about the stronghold, he said. Tim nodded with satisfaction. He ran off to the other children. Juho approached Darkness. A good first lesson. The little one asked well, said Darkness quietly. Children often ask better than adults. Yes. Pause. Another lesson tomorrow? Another lesson tomorrow. Exactly 1 year after the conversation at the dark forest. Shadow brought the news in the morning. Ark is moving towards the stronghold. Not quickly, slowly like everything an ancient creature does. In one day it will be here, said Shadow. Juho gathered the council immediately. Ark is coming, he said. One day. War? Asked Rick. We do not know. Maybe an answer to the agreement. Do we prepare for battle? Juho looked at Croc. Croc at darkness. Darkness at Juho. We prepare for a meeting, said Juho. Not for battle. There is a difference. What if it comes to fight? Then we will defend ourselves. But we do not start from a position of fear. Tars arrived by chance, on business. He found out. He stayed. Should I leave? He asked. It is your decision, said Juho. But if you stay and see what happens, it will be valuable. Then you can tell other feudals, Tars thought. I stay. A day of waiting. The stronghold was quiet. Everyone knew. No one panicked. They prepared. Each at their place. Children in the basement with Lewis. Not because of danger, but because of caution. Dorn and the dwarves in the mine. It is calmer there. Tink in the forge. Forging. He was nervous. He forged. His method. Darkness at the northern wall. Looking at the horizon. Gray next to Juho. As always. Shadow on reconnaissance ahead. By evening, Shadow ran back. Close. Half an hour. The gates, said Juho. Open them. Rick was surprised. Open them? Open them. We are not hiding. We wait openly. The gates opened. Juho went out alone. He stood in front of the gates, facing north. Gray went out after him. He lay down nearby. Croc went out. He stood on the other side of Juho. Darkness came out from behind the wall. He stood behind. No one spoke. They simply came out. Then Lewis appeared at the gates, with Tim in his arms. The boy did not want to stay in the basement. He broke free. Lewis held him, did not hide him, held him. Rick with the young goblins. They came out. Without weapons. Tars came out. Alone, without guards. A baron who was used to hiding behind soldiers. He came out without them. No one had agreed on it. They simply came out one after another. Then the ground. First a quiet vibration, then stronger. Trees on the horizon swayed. The sky darkened a little, as if a shadow had passed. Ark appeared. Huge. The word is weak. The size of a small hill. Black, eight-legged, with a body covered in growths of old chitin. 8 eyes amber, huge, each the size of a cartwheel. He walked slowly. With each step, the ground shuddered. He stopped 20 steps away. He looked. Silence. Tim and Lewis's arms looked at Ark with wide-open eyes. He did not cry. He looked. Ark moved one of his 8 eyes to the boy. Long silence. Then the voice, vibration of the ground, the system translated with difficulty. Little one. Looks. Is not afraid. He is interested, said Juho. Children are not afraid. Children are different. Ark looked at Juho. I thought for a year. I know, the place you are building is incomprehensible to me. Goblins and people, dark and light, together. Yes, why? Because some are weaker. Together it is better. Strength and unity. An old idea. Old but working, said Juho. I offered an agreement, a border. I thought about the border. Borders divide. A long pause, the ground trembled slightly. The world is divided into ours and strangers. A border makes strangers. Juho waited. I do not want a border. It does not want a border. That means either no agreement or another agreement. What do you want? Asked Juho. Something else. Speak. Little weak ones together? Good. A long pause. I am also alone. Alone for a long time. The forest is mine, but alone. Alone. An ancient creature that has lived for centuries alone. Not evil. Lonely. Juho understood. Ark, he said slowly. Do you want to be part of this? Silence. I do not understand how. I am big. You are small. Size does not matter, said Juho. What matters is whether you want to. A long silence. I want to. Croc next to Juho raised his staff. He tapped the ground, a goblin gesture of greeting. Welcome, he said in his own way. Darkness behind Juho lowered his head. A dragon's bow, rare. Tim in Lewis's arms suddenly. Mr. Ark, do you want to see our fortress? Lewis closed his eyes. Ark's 8 eyes all on the boy. A long pause. I want to. Ark did not enter through the gates. He would not fit through the gates. Part of the wall had to be removed. Skripa watched as the stone he himself had laid was removed. He suffered in silence. Then he looked at Ark. Then at the place where he stood. He began to draw something quickly on skin. Skripa was thinking how to replan the entrance for a creature the size of a hill. Ark in the courtyard. The courtyard was small for him, but he fit. He lay down, his body folded, 8 legs neatly tucked. He occupied half the courtyard. Goblins watched from the walls, from the roofs. People, some hid, some watched. Dark creatures, some recognized him. They hid. Then they saw that Ark lay calmly. They came out. Tim, Lewis could not hold him, ran up to Ark. Ark moved one eye to the boy who stood by his paw. The paw was bigger than the boy entirely. Little one, said Ark. Yeah, Tim agreed. And you are big. Yes, isn't it boring to be so big? Pause. Sometimes. I am also sometimes bored, Tim reported. Then I go to Gray. He plays with me. Gray was nearby. Ark looked at the lizard. Gray did not run away. He sat. He looked back. Little beast is not afraid. I am afraid, said Gray, but I stand. Ark, a long pause. Good. They gathered the council in the courtyard. The hall inside could not hold Ark. They sat around. Croc, Darkness, Lewis, Reich, Dorn, Tars. Ark lay in the center. Juho stood. He spoke. Ark wants to be part of the green stronghold. Pause. This is unusual. He is huge, ancient, alone. We are small, different, many. Pause. But our stronghold has always accepted those who came in peace. What does he give us? Asked Rick. Directly, as always. Juho looked at Ark. Knowledge, said Ark. Old, about the world, about the earth, about what was before. Knowledge, Juho translated. Ark is older than these mountains. He remembers what no one remembers. What do we get from this? Asked Dorn the dwarf. The earth, said Ark. Then he lowered one paw. He touched the ground. Something happened quietly. The ground around the paw changed color. It became darker. Richer. Dorn jumped up. He ran over. He knelt, took a handful. This. His voice changed. This is the best soil I have ever seen. I can, said Ark. He improves the earth, said Juho. With a touch. Croc looked at the darkened earth. The vegetable garden, he said quietly. If he walks through the vegetable garden, the harvest will be different, Juho agreed. Baron Tears was silent for a long time. Then, this changes a lot. It changes. My villages starve every second winter. If there is such soil, we will talk, said Juho. After the council. The council voted. For the first time, they voted to accept not a refugee creature, but a creature that chose itself. The result was unanimous. Ark followed the process. He did not fully understand what was happening, but he understood when Croc stood up and said, "Welcome to the Green Stronghold." At night, Skripa did not sleep. He sat with skin and a piece of charcoal. He drew. By dawn, he came to Juho. He woke him. Juho opened his eyes. Skripa at the bed with an armful of scribbled sheets of skin. I found how, said the goblin. What did you find? How to make a place for Ark. Permanent. Comfortable. He sat down nearby. He laid out the schemes. Juho looked. Expand the northern part of the stronghold. Remove extra buildings. Move them. Free up a large area. Make a special entrance. Wide. Reinforced. Inside a courtyard only for Ark. Large. But the main thing. Skripa found how to combine. Around Ark's courtyard, let houses of goblins. Not farther away as around. Because the earth next to Ark is the best. Vegetable gardens next to him. Ark literally in the center of life, not at the edge. This is good, said Juho. I know, said Skripa. Without boasting, he simply knows. Show it to Croc in the morning. I already showed it. He is sleeping now. Did he approve? He said do it. Then do it. Skripa nodded. He gathered the schemes. He stood up to leave. Skripa, said Juho. Yes, you know that you are building not just a fortress, Skripa thought. I know, he said. I am building a place where everyone has a place. Juho looked at him. 23 years old, a goblin, an architect, a good definition. Skripa left. Morning. Juho went out onto the wall. He looked down. The courtyard was alive. Tink already at the forge. The first smoke from the chimney. Dorn and the dwarves at the entrance to the mine, discussing something. Skripa walks around the northern part with a measuring rod, measuring the future courtyard for Ark. Lewis carries something heavy. Tim runs nearby, tries to help, gets in the way. Croc by the large tree they planted 6 months ago in the center of the courtyard, still small but growing. He sits, looks. Darkness on the roof of the main building, warming himself in the morning sun. Huge, black, on the roof that Lewis and Skripa built. Ark in the northern part, sleeping. The earth around him is dark, rich. Gray runs across the courtyard. Behind him, 5 goblin children, playing. Gray pretends he cannot catch them. Shadow is nowhere. Shadow is always nowhere, but Juho feels him in the storage. He is there. In the storage, 231 creatures. In the stronghold, 1,004 inhabitants. 1,004. A year ago, 83 goblins in a camp of branches. Rick appeared next to him on the wall. He stood. He looked too. Zuho, he said. Yes. Croc says that you will leave soon. Juho looked at him. Did Croc say that? He said that you always go further. That is how you are made. Juho looked at the courtyard. That is how I am made. Rick, he said. Yes. If I leave, will the stronghold not collapse? Rick thought. Honestly, without quick answers. No, he said finally. It will collapse if you remove Croc, or Darkness, or Lewis, or Tink, or Skripa. Pause. Removing you would be worse, but we will survive. That is good, said Juho. Why is it good? Because a place that holds only on one person is not a place. A place that lives on its own is real, Rick thought. Are you leaving? I do not know. Maybe soon. Maybe not. Pause. First, I want to see how the tree we planted grows. Reek looked at the small tree in the center of the courtyard where Croc was sitting. It will take a long time to wait. Nothing, said Juho. I am not in a hurry. They stood on the wall. They looked at the morning courtyard. Gray below raised his head. He looked at Juho.